Okay, I think we are live now. Hello, everybody. Hi, Desiree.
Good morning.
Outside, this way. I always do that. Hello, everybody. So we are live with Desiree, who's the website web design expert in our team. Basically, she works with our clients inside of the Ecom Launchpad, and she also has her own agency called Naked Digital. She's in Australia. So am I. So you'll get a little dose of Australian accent today. And we're going to talk about website essentials for handmade sellers. So we have some examples that we want to show you and really kind of looking at what you really need to have to make your website look professional. Even, whether you want to work like with a professional like Desiree or you want to kind of go the DIY road, these are things that are going to make your website stand out and help you have a higher conversion rate, higher, average order value, all these things that really matter to the bottom line, build trust with your customers, all that good stuff. But before we dive in, Desiree, do you want to take a minute to say hello and introduce your own business as well?
Sure. It is my least favorite part, talking about myself, but I will do it. Thanks for having me, by the way. Really excited to be a part of the program and also to be here live with you. I do own Naked Digital, which specializes in web design, and most commonly WordPress and Shopify are the two platforms that we work in, and we work with small to medium businesses. And a lot of our clients are also handmade businesses, but also mostly e-commerce, which is where we much prefer Shopify as the website platform because of how easy it is. But WordPress and WooCommerce and other places, there's a lot of principles that come behind having an e-commerce website. So I hope to share that essentials with you. No matter what platform you're on, you should be able to apply that.
Yeah, I'm excited to show you guys examples as well, because I think sometimes we say, this is what you should have, and then it's really kind of hard to understand what that should look like. So we've got some examples from websites, from clients inside of the Launchpad program, from clients that Desiree has worked within her own agency. So do you want to get started? Should we just jump in?
Yes.
I will add your screen.
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today are maybe you might already know this, as everyone said that this is what I need to have, but like Deb said, I'm going to show some examples of how you can actually put this into your website, or different variations of it. But also, I think a lot of us also know some of the essentials, like for example, making sure that your website is mobile responsive. Everyone should know that now. And if you're working in a platform like Shopify and the latest versions, they are most of the time mobile responsive anyway. So I'm just going to pick whatever I can fit into this short time as what I really feel a lot of people are missing out on, or maybe not aware yet. So the first one is probably quite at the top of our list, which is I was going to say messy for some people, but what we prefer is to have the the navigation menu to be as seamless and uncluttered as possible for a good user experience. So I can show you my screen now. If you can bring that one up. I've got some examples here where you can see this one is a nice uncluttered menu where you've got your what we call collections or categories in the menu itself. Without having to click around too much, you can jump straight into the necklaces or the rings, so the categories themselves. And then you've got what we call the boring stuff, or the information policies can sit in the footer here. So it's really nice and clean, really focusing on the shop aspect of just jump into the products or the categories that you're interested in. And then the next one is an example of a larger inventory where you've got lots of different categories in here. And you can drill down into subcategories from here. So this is a mega menu where you've got multiple columns as well as maybe a featured or promotional section here where you can put an image and a button or call to action. And then this one, because they stock a lot of brands, they've got shop by brands as well and broken them up in by alphabet here. And again, another promotion or highlighted collection here. So you can see that it's just a much more a better user experience when you're not sort of having to guess where things are sitting, or not everything is showing at the top as you first land on the website. It is categorized and neatly sorted in a nice navigation menu. Another thing to consider as well is how it looks like on a mobile. So if I were to open this up in a mobile view, which is just using the inspector, just being conscious about how this also displays and works in a mobile is so important, because let's face it, most of us are online shopping on our mobile before we actually get to the laptop or computer to complete the purchase. So that's one of the top ones that I would say is an essential, is to really think about how your navigation menu works and how we can reduce the number of clicks before actually getting to the products. And that makes sense as well to the person.
I think that's one of the first things that I see when I do reviews or when we have people coming inside of the program. It's really reorganizing, like before looking at the design, it's deciding on like, basically you're guiding people through your website like you would guide them if you had a retail store. It would be organized, you would have sections, and really thinking through that, because you know where your products are and why one is in a specific collection and not in another. But they don't know, and they don't have all that much patience, to be honest. We're not patient as we browse online these days. They need to know very clearly, this is how I get to what I want as quickly and smoothly as possible. So for those websites, the one right now, Bonfire, there's someone inside the program, it's very clear categories at the top. But what we've been using a lot more as well, and I love that you show that example for bigger inventories, in those mega menu. They are really, really convenient because they make things neat and tidy. Even though there is a lot there, it still allows people to shop by brand or to shop by product, or sometimes it can be shop by product or shop by style, or however you kind of want to make it work for yourself. But mega menus are a really good option that I think is kind of underused, to be honest.
Yes, I think it might be because the older versions of, for example, for Shopify, it wasn't native to the themes, whereas now with Shopify 2.0, most of them will have mega menus as part of the theme anyway. So it's not really an add-on anymore if you're using the most latest version of the Shopify theme.
Yeah.
The next on my essentials list is using high quality images for both the branding as well as the products and lifestyle images on your website. This is really the make or break for some of the websites that we've seen and some businesses. If people are browsing and they can't get a good indication or a good view of the products that you have, then you're already missing out on the potential sale. Because if, let's say, they're comparing the same product at the same price within two websites, and one website has blurry images, or you can't expand, you can't click to zoom, and you can't see different sides of the product, but the other website has that functionality and maybe even has video, then it's more likely that the person's going to purchase from the one where they've seen had a really good look at the product online through their website. And so you don't want to be compared with other people, but also you don't want to lose out because your images have let you down. So I'll show you some where they have kind of nailed their branding in terms of their photography, the style, and also display their products in a really good way. So this is one of our clients, Royal Republic, and you can see as well the theme allows that when you hover over, it shows the second photo, which is really great. It just helps with the browsing and window shopping, and I'm not having to click through every single product to see more. I can already see a second version of that product image. And then you've got her style is having this type of filter over the photos, but it doesn't compromise the actual quality of the product images. So you've got a mix of both lifestyle, which is, the products are being used in different locations or different purposes. And then some of the products have also more photos of just what they call ghost photo images, where it's just a product on its own without being worn. Another example of good photography is Morello Grove. So you can see here they've got these products that are sort of staged, or what we call lifestyle. Some of them are flat lay as well, which is sometimes I feel like it's quite a skill that you need to learn if you are taking your own photos, trying to flat lay, but lots of videos that you can search up to see how to style your products for if you are taking your own photos. And then we've come to the branding side of things, where they've taken some photos with a professional. It also really just helps to elevate that from what might look like a DIY job to that next level up. It's a really good.
And I'll say as well, sorry, I'll just jump in to say as well, if you're not there yet that you can afford professional photography, there are lots of things you can do. If you can go back to the Bonfire website real quick, I know she has all these pictures. She's worked with a photographer, and basically you can do exchanges of services and products. You can find people in your area in Facebook groups that will work with you to also build a portfolio. These are all model shots that she would not have been able to do if not, and that really elevated the website and really it's painting a picture. It's not just the product that you're seeing, it's what you're selling, which is the style generally and the aesthetic. And you don't, so you can find alternative options to, don't basically write it off as I can't afford a professional photographer. If you can do it, it will change the game. But if you can't, A, you can learn yourself. B, you can really partner up with photographers that are looking for, building up their portfolio, being able to use the images as well. And you just got to agree on what the rights of the images are, basically. But it can really help.
If you are DIYing, there are so many things that you can do to make sure that there's consistency in the photos and the filter, for example. So if you maybe invest in a light box, if your products can fit into a light box, you can control the quality of the images, the sunlight, and things like that. So have that space set up somewhere convenient for you, where you don't have to sort of take it down and rebuild each time you need to take photos. And so a light box for smaller products would work, that you can then take those photos and then you can use a program like some people use Photoshop or Lightroom, that you can save your presets, and it's like in bulk. You can edit your photos with the same filter and same lighting if you're always taking the photos in the same place. So you can definitely get some kind of professional level images, as long as you make a little bit of an investment to try and get that consistency as well.
I would say there's a bit of a learning curve with that. Well, definitely there's a steep learning curve with that, let's be honest. But you learn it once, and then as you said, you know your spot, you know your gear, you know your settings, you know your preset. Once you've worked it out once, you just repeat it to all of the pictures in the same way, so it looks really cohesive. And so yes, there's a learning curve, but then after that, it's a lot easier once you've worked it out. And I love that you mentioned artificial light, because I think there's a lot of people there saying, you just need the sun and it's fine and easy. It's actually really difficult to work with the sun. It changes. There's clouds, there's winter, there's summer, there's, what if you can only work when your kids are in bed? Like, artificial light, you can control. It looks the same. It's very easy to kind of have something that is very consistent and cohesive throughout your website.
Yeah, I agree. Next on my list here to highlight is to have some badges on your website to show the values, or some trust badges as well that you can display. A lot of our clients will use things like, we ask them to pick 3 to 4 USPs, or unique selling points. And they will have that displayed sometimes right at the top, sometimes at the bottom. So let me just show you an example. We've got Cute Muse here. So as you land on the website and you scroll down, there are 3 of them. So we've got satisfaction guaranteed, ethically sourced, and free worldwide shipping, which is a huge selling point when people can just add things to their cart and not have to worry how much the shipping is going to be anywhere in the world. That is definitely a huge USP up there. So, you can use an icon, you can use text-based, but definitely have them displayed, nice and high and proud. And then you can also put them into your product pages, where let's go into one of them. And you can see here as well, just things to really give someone the trust and the confidence to take the next step on that page itself, or maybe to align with the person, if they are a specific niche, someone who is, concerned or worried about eco-friendliness and sustainability. They can definitely see all this and go, I trust this brand and I'm happy to buy from them. Another example would be, let me just see over here. We've got, I've got so many tabs open. I'm just going to go back to the home page of the Convent store. And they've put theirs slightly lower, but you see a bit of animation as well. Instead of just being a static website, they've got eco-friendly packaging, supporting Aussie brands, which is a very big thing in Australia. They want to buy Australian made or Australian owned, and encouraging time outside. And one more example we've got here at Studio Colette. We've got, again, nice and high on the page, their values that will align with their target audience. So the idea is to understand who your target audience is and know that they're going to be, I align with this. I feel the same, and I'm happy to stick around and browse more, and then potentially purchase as well from this website and this brand.
Yeah. And people don't read that much. I think I got those trust badges there. It's a shortcut to telling people, like, this is what's important. If you're not going to read a full paragraph, which 90% of people will not these days.
Yeah, it's very much put it in dot points, because that's where the eyes are going to be drawn to. And we don't even need a graphic designer for this. If you use a program like Canva, you have access to so many icons and badges that are pre-designed, and you can just reskin them to your brand and your colors, or even make them yourself. So you find the right icon and put your own text on it. So lots of options there for you to DIY, to add to your website to boost that.
That's a DIY site. Half the website was showing you were DIY inside of the program, and half were built by Desiree and LT. This is a DIY. Cute News was a DIY. These icons there's actually too many almost icons online that you can find and make this, but it's definitely easy to do yourself, and it really elevates the trust factor on the website.
Yes, it is. Again, if you have to also know that sometimes people don't necessarily see your homepage as the first thing. This product might be the first thing they click through from a Google search result. So this is all they see to make that decision to whether to go ahead and purchase it, unless they click around. So have some information, but also don't just stuff things in there to make it more cluttered than necessary. But I would maybe say, maybe 3 to 4 here would be good, but something is better than nothing as well. I will go on to my next point, which is having some social proof. And I think that this term gets thrown around a lot, and people just don't really quite understand what that means. It does capture a few things, so it's really not just you saying how good you are, but other people saying how good you are and why people should buy from you. So we have things like reviews and testimonials of your products. And also we've got maybe as seen in or as featured in, so where you have promoted, or not really promoted, but been talked about elsewhere. So maybe it's a magazine feature, or even like maybe being a guest on a podcast and things like that, or accreditations, awards that you might have received. And you might also have other people creating this content for you and sharing their videos and their photos and really talking about you in a positive light. So that's UGC, user generated content that you can use. It's not just relying on you to talk about yourself in a positive light. And again, I have quite a few examples here. We already have bonfire jewelry up, so I will go on to see right at the top here. She has put as seen on, and these are quite, big names that people in her target audience will really go, wow, if it's being shown on Charmed, I definitely want, what she was wearing on that show and things like that. So, really good boost for their credibility as well,
Yeah.
and popularity. I've got another example here where we've got the awards for Morella Grove. Very proud of them. So they're up there. And then you've also got Essenen, which, if you're in the industry and if you're in the market for these are all names that will really mean a lot to you as a customer or potential customer. And then they've got a testimonial section here. And within the products itself, we'll have reviews. And let's just see what one of them has. So we've got reviews. And this is the Judge Me app that they're using to collect reviews once someone has purchased it.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have it in different areas. I think people tend to forget that a bit as well. And we see like a couple of highlighted testimonials on the homepage, but then again, someone is not always going to be on your homepage. They might land on the product page. So you kind of want to have them on your product page as well, on your category page, and really make sure that basically almost on every page we have some kind of review, testimonial, social proof, those what would they call? Not badges, but accreditations or awards are good. And something we haven't mentioned that's in between those kind of like the social proof and the trust badge is if you, and I've seen that a lot for skincare, if you have not awards, but accreditation in the sense of, if it's organic and you have some kind of, you've actually gone through the process of making sure that you have a label that you can legally put as this is organic, cruelty free, all of these things as well, really help boost trust.
There's
well.
certifications that they would have, yeah.
Yeah.
This website I'm going to show next has quite a few, if not all, of the things that I'm recommending today as essential. So this is Lunchbox Mini, which the entire business is sort of powered by reviews, product reviews. The business owner reviews all of these different brands of lunchboxes. This is a whole industry on its own that people just spend so much money buying lunchbox and accessories and drink bottles and things like that. So Anna reviews the products, and she also has video tours, so you can see here. But on this page itself, she uses the Looks app, and you will see here, I'm just going to scroll down. Usually there's a pop-up, but it might not pop up because I've been on this site a few times. So there's a section here, a carousel of reviews, and people who leave reviews for lunchboxes always share photos and sometimes videos. And there's also an incentive for them to share them, so that because they're often repeat buyers, that they will come back and keep purchasing accessories or replacements, that they have the incentive to come and leave photo reviews and video reviews to get the next, a discount off the next purchase.
Yeah, I have definitely seen that as a customer, and it made me review the product. Not of this brand necessarily, but of another brand where, you leave a review, you can basically get enticed with, next purchase 15% off or something like that, or get in the draw to win a XYZ product. And it really helped build social proof quickly.
Yeah, that's right. It's a real quick way to do that. And also just optimizing the app or the plugin to encourage that conversion of someone shopping around. So you can see here, if I'm looking at this product, I can click on the product itself and I know exactly which one this one is. So we're very visual people. I mean, you do this on things like Amazon as well, where you only read through, I only read the reviews and with images that really show me how it looks like in real life. And so this is so powerful in that regard. We've also got here, we've got the reviews and testimonials. We've got the UGC, so people are creating these content for her. And we've got the accreditations here. If I go into one of these products, this one's a pre-order, so there might not be, let me go into one that has been around for a while. Okay, so this one has 89 reviews, and there's also this looks widget over here. You saw that pop up before. That was a the looks fly out too, so I can also click into that and see more information. Some of the things to make that decision easier, same on next day dispatch. So this messaging is really, really powerful for when I want to decide whether to buy or not, or add to cart. And then there's a whole list of this particular product reviews and videos that I can just really get a good sense of what this product is going to do for me and whether I want it or not, or if it's the right thing for me. So super powerful. And, you're going to have to, if you haven't been doing this in the past, you're going to have to start somewhere. So there's never too late a time to start. It's once you start collecting, it will automatically add itself if you approve it, or you set it to just automatically add by itself. But you've just got to start somewhere and build it up this way. So those were just some really good examples of the social proof, collecting, how to collect the testimonials, some incentives as well. Which brings me on to the next thing, which is sales boosters, or ways to increase your average order value.
I'm a very, very, very big proponent of that. And I know we focus on that a lot inside of the program from the get-go. Basically, when we look at numbers, what are your goals? What's the revenue that you want to hit? How much do we need to make in sales to actually get the personal income that you want? We realize that there are some key metrics, that when you move a little bit, have a really important impact on the bottom line. And order value, or basically how much people purchase on average per purchase, is really important. So instead of getting an average order value of 30, if you can bring it up to 50 instead of 70, bring it up to 120. I'm just throwing random numbers. You need to run your own, but it means that your website's working harder for you because you're getting the same amount of traffic. You can stop focusing so heavily on driving traffic, which we know is really effort heavy, I would say, and time consuming. And you can make more money from the same amount of traffic. Doesn't mean we're not going to bring more traffic to your website, but it means that every traffic that you bring to your website, every bit of traffic is going to work a lot harder for you by giving you more revenue.
And who doesn't want that? It's like, and it's the same for service-based business too. If you were to try so hard to get new people all the time, as opposed to making the ones that you have spend more with you, it's easier and cheaper to do that, to get those you already know of you to buy from you. All right, so the next example I've got here to show some ways of increasing average order value. You've got things like free gifts over a certain amount in your shopping cart, or maybe a discount if you buy more than one of the product, or buy in bulk. Another example would be, if you buy this, you get that. And it could be a free gift as well. So if you buy this, if you buy a bento box, you'll get one of these free cups, snack cups, as part of your order. And then, it also crosses into the upsell, cross-sell territory, which is an example here. What goes well with this product? If you buy this, we do recommend you buy these 2 items as well. And on this page itself, you can add them to cart without having to go and find what these products are. So again, this is increasing that value of this order, that this person, they only initially wanted to buy this one. But it's a you may also like section here, but very related items that have been sort of handpicked to match this product here. And you've got apps that can do that. And some of the themes in Shopify will allow you to sort of power this as well natively.
I think it's key that it's there, as you said. I think that, a lot of people, for example, coming from Etsy will think, well, I'm linking to other products in my product description. It's a very different thing from having it there, click of a button to add to cart, to try and send someone to another page to add to cart. Like, it just is not as efficient as what you can do with platforms like Shopify and good apps that can do that for you on the page.
Yeah. That is the power of being outside of such a large marketplace, that you have a bit more control with that. This one on Studio Colette, on the product page, there's a couple on here, a couple of ways to increase average order value. So you've got get more, save more. So buying 2, 3, or 4 gets you a bigger discount. And then you've also got buying an extra item and saving on that cost because you purchased this. So buy X, get this is this method that she's using in this one. We've also got another example of a free gift with the purchase. So let me just go back to that. On Little Windmill, we've got free beanie with any purchase, $200 and over. And this is not going to require any codes or anything. It's just once the cart value reaches 200 and over, it will automatically add that free gift to the order. And then when you're packing the order, that's what you put into the purchase. So it's less manual and less admin or less setup, quite easy to go and run with. But you do want to make it that you're not making a loss on it. So
definitely run your numbers, but it's also it depends. Like, for some people, the free gift will work better. For some heavy, bulky things, it might actually be easier than free shipping. It really depends on what you want to offer. And then bundles and sets, I think you're about to go there as well, works really well. Basically getting people to, depending again on what you're buying, but Studio Colette and Cute Muse here do that quite well, where it's like, well, if you're going to have one artwork with mozzarella leaf on it, why don't you also get the banana outprint,
Yes, this is a great way. A lot of times our work works like this, where you can put them side by side, or like you say, maybe most of the time people might also be buying it as a theme for their house. Then why not buy another one for another place? So a really good incentive here to buy more than one while you're on this page, and to make it really easy to select what that item is, as opposed to then, okay, I do want to, but then now I have to go to this other product page and add that to the cart. You can do it all in the one page.
Yeah. Really, I love that because as well for artwork, it helps you visualize your wall. Because when you want to, I'm sure anyone that's trying to like buy art for your house online, you're looking at a few different prints because you want 2 or 3. But as you were just saying, you have to go to each page and then you have to kind of imagine, will they work well together? In this case, I'm seeing them next to each other. Yes, they're small and they're little thumbnails, but I can see that it's like, oh, that does look really good together, and it's very visual again. So my brain is sold on it a lot more easily.
Yeah, it's almost like this makes sense. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
We've got one more example. So I mentioned Lunchbox Mini. Their incentive is definitely to really reward their customers when they leave reviews, and to keep buying from them. So they, as I showed you before, a lot of their products will have, this is not really their own brand, so they are just reviewing lots of products and selling them, but they might be tying in lots of other different brands in their recommendations too. So what goes well with, so as I said, these are all sort of handpicked so that it's very customized, and it makes sense to buy them when they're on this page. Like, oh yeah, if I'm buying that, why not buy this one as well? And yeah, that's a really great way, powerful way to increase that order value. I talked about the what have we got? Yeah, so upsell and cross-selling. This shop does that really, really well with the upselling. So upselling meaning you are trying to increase the average order value. So it could be, oh, I'm looking at something small. How about you look at this bigger version of it, or a better brand of it? That could be an upsell. A cross-sell, it could be this, which is while you're buying this these two are also good complementary items to go with this product itself. This is now starting to come into some native Shopify 2.0 themes as part of the theme, but most of the time you're going to have an app to power this kind of functionality. You might also see them in the cart. So maybe I'll add one of these things to the cart. And another option to show to upsell or cross sell is when you are actually shopping in the cart. In the cart itself. A good example. Let me just add one of this to the cart and see whether there's an upsell. That's an option here that you may also like. Most of the free themes or Shopify themes will allow you to show you may also like in the cart, but sometimes you might need a app to power this upsell cross-sell functionality here. The one thing you can't do on Shopify unless you're on a plus plan is to custom this section here, the checkout page. But again, some apps might allow you to do that, but most of the time those apps are quite expensive because you are earning much more from those apps than when you're not using those apps.
They work. Like, there's no doubt it works. I know it seems so trivial almost. You're like, oh, surely if I add something there, it's not going to make that big of a difference, but it does. Like, if you take how much your orders are right now and you add even $10 on average to every order that you make, how much has your revenue grown? And these putting it easily, efficiently in front of people where they are with their cursor instead of making them think and work for it really does improve average. Like, those sales boosters are so important. I know we focused a lot on them on the program because especially as most of the people we work with, it's you making products yourself. I know some of you work print on demand and all of that as well, but when you're making the products, you're busy. You don't have time to basically remove the need to constantly be focusing on more traffic, and do more with the traffic that you already are getting to your site.
Yeah, and it's also a very non-intrusive way of doing that, right? It's less salesy. It makes sense. And I also feel sometimes if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's really not, I like that it's not intrusive.
It's really helpful. Like, I think you have to get in your head as well that you're not trying to push people, because I know a lot of you guys often tell me, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to feel pushy when I'm marketing my products or selling my products. But your people are on your website because they want your product, and you're actually making their life a lot easier by doing all these things we've talked about, making them feel comfortable and confident. And navigation is easy. Complementary products are easily, on the page. It's quicker for them to find what they want. And at the end of the day, it's better than getting them to work really hard for it, having to go into your navigation, find all the products you have. No one's got the time.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Deb, if you want to share yours, just to show my next point, which is opt-in strategy, using your website to build your email list, and this is so essential because your email list is so unique to you. No one else in the world will have that same subscriber list as you do, because these people have physically opted in to say, I like this brand, I want to know more, and I'm potentially going to buy, or I want to keep buying from this person. And no one else will have an exact match to you. So that's a gold mine waiting to be explored, but you need to start collecting them, and your website is a great way of doing that. So what we call an opt-in strategy just means, what is that offer that you're trying to, I wouldn't say bribe, but entice them to give you their email address, because, to us, our email address means a lot, and we don't want to have any more spam kind of emails than we have to. So what is that offer that you can say to them that's for them to be willing to give you their email address, so that they know you're going to email them some kind of promotional emails or updates. So here are just some examples of those that do it quite well in terms of the offer and their messaging. And we've got the first one here, which is Cute Muse, and it says, you've got your small, and this is another thing that I see a lot of people doing. The big words, they say, subscribe to our newsletter, or sign up to our newsletter. No, the hook is the big hook here is save 10% off on your first order. That's all I'm reading. That's all I want. I don't need to know. I need to join the community and stuff. So don't use the fine print for your actual messaging. The big capital stuff, save 10%. And again, brainless, mindless browsing, you go, yeah, why not? I want to get 10% off. And then the button as well, instead of saying subscribe, says get my 10% off. So then the next thing is that when you just close the pop-up, you have to make sure that as you scroll, because sometimes when you first land on the website and the pop-up happens, you close out of it, but just make sure there's a reminder somewhere else on your website to actually go, yeah, okay, now I have seen the products and I have seen the brand, I'm ready to subscribe. So making sure that after the pop-up is closed, there are other places for people to sign up on there.
I love about the copy because it's something that comes up so much. To join my newsletter, join our newsletter. No one wants to join your newsletter, and you don't want to join newsletter either. I'm sure, as someone who brought the internet, like that's not appealing. What am I getting out of signing up for this newsletter is what you really want to have as your main hook and headline. So be super clear with that, because very few people read the fine prints and the supporting, copy below it. So the heading needs to really tell them what they're going to get, what's in it for them.
Yeah. The next one is, so, having a $10 off or 10% off is probably one of the most common offers an e-commerce product, e-commerce store will have. The next example is Morella Grove, which is olive oil, and their opt-in is seasonal as well. So theirs is their winter warmers recipe book, which people who are
Australia, guys, I know for some of you it's the middle of August and it's summer, but we are in winter here, so this makes sense for us.
So being an Australian brand and their target audience being in Australia is definitely something that they go, wow, okay, I maybe I don't need the olive oil right now, but I would love to know how to use the olive oil in recipes. So that is their opt-in. And they also have that's okay. Technology is another example of a different way if you switch to that one now. Their loyalty as well as their opt-in strategy is to offer free shipping for free domestic shipping for their members, for their subscribers. So no one else, unless you are subscribed to their list, no one else gets free shipping. So this is an interesting, a slightly different tactic. But it works for them because they're absolutely growing the email list that they can then send really targeted emails. Because their items are, can vary large, from little tiny decorative pieces to large artwork. So free shipping is actually really a good incentive for people to sign up. So
show a little bit what the site sells, because I would definitely sign up for free shipping on this website because I feel it's a really good incentive in this case. And let me scroll back down. I know we wanted to show this one here as well again, which is if I have closed that pop-up, because it will sometimes pop up at the perfect time, sometimes I'm not quite ready, as you were saying, to sign up. It's good to have that back on the page.
I should say though that this one excludes large items because they sell things like you can see at the bottom. It's like a life-size elephant and a life-size horse. So you're not going to get that free shipping. That's
fair enough.
Yeah, but things like artwork and things like that, just saving on that shipping cost is a good incentive to sign up.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point, because that's also something I know. We work with our client in deciding what these things should be, and a lot of people can only offer free shipping on some categories, and some like I can do it on my skincare products. I can't do it on my candles because honestly, it could cost me so much if I'm sending across the states or whatever. You can exclude categories, and you can kind of focus on saying it's free shipping on skincare products, or you don't have to be all black or white, and you can still have some really nice offers that are, appealing enough and really attractive without basically killing your profit margin, which is the last thing I want you guys to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I always say to my clients, if you can afford free shipping, that is like one of the best incentives for people to shop with you, because you can add whatever you want to your cart and then send it out, right? Like you don't have to worry about calculating shipping, but you need to make sure your margins and your profit, cost all allow for this free shipping. Like in Australia, I don't know how much it is to do shipping elsewhere, but in Australia, like just a normal post of an item is $10 at least, so you can't afford to do $10-12 each order for free if your margin doesn't allow for that. But if they're trialing the free shipping for members only, and the win is that they're also growing and they convert sales in their email marketing as well, which I use Klaviyo for. And like you said, you can absolutely exclude different things, and you just set this up for Shopify. It makes it quite easy to make exclusions or separate shipping items categories, so that they apply accordingly to depending on what the product is added to the cart. So don't lose out on shipping costs, and sometimes it might take a few goes to work out what you can afford, or maybe change your pricing to allow for it before you're comfortable with how it's running.
Absolutely. I think we have our list of kind of essentials done.
And I can absolutely go on, so we might have to cap it.
I know, like, then you can also, but these are really the things. I'll repeat them just so you guys can have like a little sum up. But basically, it's uncluttered and responsive navigation menu. So make it really easy from at the top to navigate your website. We don't want to see super long, wonky, menu that go on and on with subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory. Like that's gonna make people just lost. And it needs to be responsive. So make sure that your menu is really clear. High quality images for both product and lifestyle. That's what you're selling. You're basically, people are buying an image, so it just really needs to look good. Value badges, which are those kind of icons and text that we want to see at least on the homepage, maybe on the product page, that are going to build trust and kind of basically straight away call out why your brand is good at what it does. Then we have social proof, so reviews, testimonials, as seen in, if you have that, if you've been, for example, we saw Bonfire, she's, her jewelry has been worn in TV shows and things like that. Having the logos really help with the standing of the brand. And user-generated content, the Lunchbox Mini, try and say that quick 10 times, was really all of that, using customers to actually upload photos for you as they review, and helping them with a bit of an incentive maybe to do that. And then we talked about the sales boosters, which is anything you can do to increase how much people spend. So free gift over a certain amount, volume discount, complimentary product, all these things. And then opt-in strategy. So basically your email list, and making sure that you're actually building an email list. To me, website and email, like they together. Like I don't even consider building a website that wouldn't have, an email system behind it. To me, they're one and the same, because when you start driving traffic to your site, you really want to be getting that email list to grow, so that you don't need to constantly rely on new traffic, and you can also nurture existing, people that know your brand into becoming customers or repeat customers. I know we have had, let me just check on my notes here. Someone had pre-submitted a question about page, and I'll just share my screen real quick to show you. Actually, this was Deepa, and she had asked a question about the about page specifically, and saying, how much is too much? How much do I share? What do I say on there? And I know it's a difficult page to write, because you have to talk about you, which no one likes to do. And it's always feeling awkward just from that. But also you have to talk about you in a way that's really about your customer, which can be a bit of a hard balance. I'll show you what Cute Muse has done here, because I know she's done it from inside the program. So she's kind of followed what we would recommend. But basically we start with a strong headline that sells the brand. Basically, step into a tropical paradise. That's what people are buying when they're buying our art prints. And so we start with a hook. Then there is a bit of a brand statement that kind of explains what the brand is about. This is kind of what your mission statement, your brand statement, they can have different names, your USP. This is where you really essentially kind of introduce what the brand is. And then you usually have the actual about the founder story, origin story. Again, people call it differently, but this is basically where you can introduce yourself behind the brand. Who are the people behind the brand? Very important, especially when we are, smaller businesses, and just people like to connect with people. As soon as you see her, the brand takes another, it goes a level deeper where you go, oh, this is the person behind all this art, and that human connection, you can't fake that. And it really, we need to emotionally connect with products and brands before we can buy. So that really helps. So you can have a bit about yourself here that again needs to be written, leave out anything that's not related to your products. You might have cats and love dogs and love gardening. And if it's got nothing to do with what your ideal customer love or what your brand is about, we're going to leave that out, so it's not a full autobiography. It's really about focusing on what is your journey, why in your journey has led you to develop the products that you are developing and designing now, and the beliefs behind that, basically, because that's going to be the same as what your customers believe in and what they like. How fun is this image? I mean, I see that and I'm like, I want to be friends with this. You can't. If something makes you smile, or someone makes you laugh, you can't not connect with that brand or person. Like that's just how humans work. And then we can have testimonials, and then we go back into basically testimonials. So what we were saying are the essentials. You want them on your website here. So make it easy to shop. It should have a shop section that says basically bestsellers, or she's picked the angle of saying these are my favorite, because it's a page that introduced her. So it's kind of like these are my top picks. Then we have our trust badges, which we talked about before. She's bringing it back here to again highlight like these are the important things you need to know to feel confident shopping. And then we've got social proof and that email sign up. So it does a lot, this page. It's not just about talking about yourself. As you can see, it's like it's really building trust and building connection, yes, but building trust in buying the products and actually linking to those products too.
Yeah.
I hope, Deepa, that helped a little bit.
I think some people miss out the call to action on the about page too. It is a strong page to have a call to action on it. There was a question here about the as seen in section by Fiona. I would just say that, I wouldn't discount paid appearances as well. Sometimes just in the industry that you're in, it could be that, so you're not, it's more like a listing or a certification again. It could be that just to enter that you need to be a paid one, but I totally get what you mean as well when it's paid press, where like being in the web design world, a lot of people, top 25 web designers in the world, but it was a paid feature. So that kind maybe is a bit questionable, but there are some things that you do kind of have to pay to be a part of and be featured on, and that's totally fine as well. So don't discount the power of that.
It's definitely possible, and it can bring you money to pay money in that case. It's a little bit like advertising. The example we gave you, I think Fiona was asking when we showed Bonfire, that's all genuine, as seen in, like she's products that have really been promoted and shown on those TV shows, but there are definitely options for paying to, and I know it feels ungenuine, and in a way a lot of people could be, and if it doesn't align with you, don't do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But kind of like thinking about it like ads. It's like an ad placement, and it's just about, trying to back up your brand as something that can be trusted and that's been trusted.
I think I like what you said, where you said if it doesn't align with you, don't do it. But there are some people, like, as from a customer point of view, it definitely makes them go, wow, okay, that's some recognition that, that's really awesome. But don't do it. Don't feel forced like you have to do it. But even awards now, you have to pay to play. So there is power to it, but only do it if you feel that you're comfortable doing it. But
I guess if you have those things, put them there, because I work with people who have been in, like we were working with someone that sells digital patterns and has been like in magazines, and I was like, where is that? We need to highlight this. It's just not something that necessarily you think of, but those logos really build trust. If you don't have that though. I don't want you to think, oh, I don't have the as seen in section. My website is not going to be trustworthy. Testimonials as the baseline are really important, and you will build those up as if you're just getting started as well. You will get reviews, put them on as soon as you have them. And those trust badges visually, for some reason, build trust, even though you're the one that wrote it, you're the one that picked the icon. They have this kind of, it's like a psychological thing where we go, oh, there's badges there, there's icons there, and it looks professional and it feels professional, and it brings a bit of confidence in the purchase.
Yeah. There is another question by Tracy about how we feel about AI photos.
Tracy, I remember we talked about that. I think it was yesterday. We had a call during in the HQ, and Tracy was joining, and she said, Tracy, I hope I'm not butchering your words, but you obviously let us know in the comment if so. But basically, she said she's tried to do photos on her own because I did a shop review for her and said we need to focus on the pictures, and I was giving her some tips there. And she said she just couldn't, figure out the setup and make it work. And so she's found apps with AI, which, it's true. There's a lot these days. They can kind of remove background, put a new background, and do all of that. So I think that's where she's at. And she's kind of probably wondering, can I do that, or do I need to learn the hard way and actually have my photos done?
I think if it's decorative photos, like you're decorating the website with like banners and background images, AI doesn't matter. Like you just use whatever you can, as long as it's branded and on brand. But if it's your product photos, there is a risk that it is misrepresenting what you're selling. If it's too AI, if it's too what do you call it, too photoshopped in a way, or you just have to make sure, if you are using AI, that it is an actual representation of your product. It's not changing the colors, it's not changing the size, the shape, anything to enhance it. But I also flagged that Google is starting to get better at picking up these types of photos, and I don't know just yet whether it's actually a bad thing that they're flagging. Definitely with content, they're flagging AI generated content. So I'm sure it won't be long before all the images are being flagged as well. So just be mindful about that. It's a bit of a unknown territory at the moment in terms of SEO.
And I think it's a matter of how realistic it looks as well. If it's a touch up, or if some apps will do a better job at kind of taking a product, cropping the background, and putting it in front of a new background, but they do it well with shadows, and it looks like there's a dimension there. And obviously it's not 3D, it's a screen, but it looks real. If it looks though like we have a floating item basically on a background, and it doesn't look realistic, your customers will pick up on it. Whether Google does or not, your customer will think, and the colors might be true to the product, it might still be real, but because the image doesn't look real, it kind of, there's a bit of a gap there in trust, like that it's hard to bridge after that, because they've lost trust in the credibility of the images. So that's the question I would ask myself is does this picture actually looks like it was made with or edited with AI, or does it look real and realistic?
Yeah, it does depend on the product, right? So if it's something that you're just changing the background color, that's fine. But if you're using AI to have this product like being used by someone, it just you can tell now. I think people are starting to switch on and go, that's
it's like this is a side funny note, but I use shop, and I see those on Etsy so much, like all the almost like too good looking models that they don't exist, that like completely AI made up people and kids that are like what AI think a good looking human is. And so it's so pushed that it's like this person does not exist and barely doesn't feel like a real person. Like it's pushing it to the extreme. To me, that's a big no-no. It builds the wrong, it's not credible.
Yeah. This is what worries me about our kids growing up. They won't know the difference. It's going to be so easy to trick them. So yeah, I'll be mindful about how much I use. I think editing is fine, like you said, remove background and things like that. But creating scenarios with your product is quite. I would proceed with caution.
Yeah, for sure. Just checking whether we've had other questions. Someone said, actually, this is not a question, but a comment that's good. So I'll just relay. A company I order materials from suggested a light filter if you're using natural light on a sunny day. That's really true. I think, and I was saying I love artificial light because you can control it. Sunny light, like the sunlight directly on your product, can produce really beautiful dramatic effects if you know how to play with the camera really well. And photographers, professional photographers do that well. But often it will create a really harsh shadow on your products, and basically like lit up one side of your product more than the other. And so you can buy filters that basically make like diffuse the light so that it's not as intense and as bright on one side and super shadowed on the next. So that's a good tip as well if you want to play with sunlight instead of artificial light. I think we didn't have any extra questions. If you guys have any, ask it now before we hop off. And if not, we will let you go. I hope this was helpful, guys. I love talking about this kind of stuff. I love looking at examples as well. And for those of you working on your own website, you know what you can do. I think another thing that's maybe worth mentioning while you guys enter any last questions you might have is, I know we get the question, why Shopify a lot? And like Desiree works with WordPress as well. We have people in a program that work with WordPress as well. The reason I think my personal choice is always kind of Shopify is because of basically all the apps and all the themes option, and they are kind of the top of the cream when it comes to e-commerce features. And so a lot of these things that we've showed for the sales boosters, for example, bundling, creating sets, build your own bundle, save X after this amount, all these really nice way to increase your average order values. You can do this. Anything you want to do, you're going to be able to do it one way or another with something like Shopify, which other platform, I know, I'm not even going to name them, but there's so many out there, don't really have all these options yet. And so yes, Shopify has a cost, but it also brings you back a lot more value than what it costs. So I think it's really important to look at it as an investment, because when you build a website that doesn't have these features, you are losing out on average order value being higher. You are losing out, and that has a ripple effect in your business that ends up costing you more. I can promise you that. So that's why I think that Shopify is a really powerful platform, and why, generally speaking, we prefer Shopify over others. WordPress would probably be second best, but maybe a little bit more. I'm not going to say you need to be a bit more tech savvy. That's not true, but I think that Shopify does a good job as well as letting you focus on the features and the design without really needing to dive into any code or anything like that, which I think is really nice.
Or just even the upkeep of it. So WordPress and WooCommerce, has a lot of maintenance behind it, and people say, "Oh, it's free," but it's not really. And it just isn't geared to, you can, on Shopify, you can be anywhere in the world and you just run your shop on the mobile, but you can't really do that with WordPress and WooCommerce. So Shopify's main goal is to help you sell. And it really is set up that way. Because you said before that being a product-based business, and especially handmade business, you don't want to have to worry about your website or processing orders and things like that. So they've made it so easy for you to really focus on your products, and it's less about the website. Yes. Sorry, Tiffany, I think the background remover, it's more of an editing tool as opposed to AI. AI comes in when you try and replace the background with something else than what it was.
Background remover have always been around, and I've always said the same thing about them too. Like sometimes it works really well, others it's clear that the background's been removed, and then when you put white behind or blue or whatever you want to add instead, it just feels like the product is floating because there is no shadow, or there's no, it doesn't look like a product would just be flying in the air on a white background usually. And so that's where I'm a little careful that when we remove a background and we reinsert something behind the product, we need to make sure that it's reinserted in a way that looks realistic. Fun fact, I know those background remover have always been there. With my hair, I've always tried to use them for years, and it would just be so awkward because it's so frizzy and all over the place that it would just make me look like just so fake. It just did not look right. And these days, I'm getting much better results. So it is improving. They are much better at cropping my frizzy hair out. And I know it's the same with products as well. So they're getting better, but just still be mindful of, does it look real? Once I remove the background and add a new one in. Okay, cool, guys. Well, I think we are ready to go. I don't think there's any other question. Desiree, thank you so much. Again, you can find Desiree at nakeddigital.com.au. The link is also in the description below this video, and you can work with both of us inside of the Ecom Launchpad program, which the link to learn more and apply for the program is also in the description below. Whether you have a website already, it's not working well for you, or you're on Etsy and you're looking to grow outside and beyond Etsy, we can help you. So check out all the links below. Thank you so much, Desiree, for being with me today. That was fun. We'll do it again.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for joining us live too. And I'm happy to answer any questions that might come in after as well. If you're watching.
For those of you guys watching the replay, definitely hit us up in the comments.
Yep.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.